This is the Horse Radio Network.
This is episode 171 of the Dressage Radio Show on the Horse Radio Network, brought to you by Equestrian Collections and Kentucky Performance Products.
This is Reese Koffler-Stanfield from Georgetown, Kentucky.
And this is Philip Parks from Fergus, Ontario, and you're listening to the Dressage Radio Show. And again today we have our producer, Glenn, with us.
Hey,
Hi,
guys.
Glenn.
I don't know about you guys, but what a week. It's just been a week.
We have had a busy one for sure here in Kentucky.
It's been one of those
What have you been up
weeks.
to, Reese?
Well, we have a horse show this week here at the horse park. And as we all know, I love having the horse park so close. But then I end up taking 5 horses in a 3-horse trailer. So as you can imagine, that means, that means that I am making a few trips back and forth to the horse park. I am good at driving now to the horse park, which is excellent. And we took a couple horses today, a young mare doing training level. And then I took my Denali and Philip. I was brave today, and all our listeners, as Philip has mentioned, sometimes I'm not the bravest with young ones, but my Denali was so good today. I lunged him for a few minutes because the horse park is it's quite a open area, and there are like 7 rings, and there's all kinds of things, tents and porta potties and all kinds of things. But he was wonderful, and he was so good, and I popped right on, and he did. We walked all over, and I was so proud of him. So he is going to be very broke by the time he comes home on Sunday. So.
You didn't go in the ring, though, did you?
You know what? I didn't. I did not compete him. He turned 4. His birthday was on the 2nd of September, so he turned 4. And I really decided this year, and we've been talking about this in our segments, and we're going to talk about it today a little further with the developing Prix St. George and developing Grand Prix with Caroline Roffman and Lisa Wilcox. But I wanted to not take him in the ring right now. I really wanted him to just come and go to the horse show and see the sights and not have the pressure of, we have to be ready on this time and we have to be braided. And so I have spent the last part of the summer just doing non-compete with him and taking him to the show. And so I feel like I can take my time a little more and we can walk around the judge's booth and that kind of thing. He's a horse that I would have loved to have done the young horse program with. And maybe as a 5-year-old, he'll catch up to the curve, but he's 6 months younger than everyone else, essentially, being a September baby. And I really want him for the future for me. So I've taken my time with him. So I'm great with that decision. And I was just so proud of him today and glad I'm not showing tomorrow. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, no pressure is perfect.
You know what I thought she was going to say, Philip? I thought she was going to say, I was so brave with him, I entered him in a jumper class.
You got to know better than that.
Yeah, you got to know better than that.
I was ready to fall off my seat.
Yeah. No, I did jump him the other day right here at the farm. There was
Intentionally?
Actually, we did walk over a fence. I did. The pony that I have here, who's wonderful, was jumping, and so I decided that I would walk over. And I will tell you, I don't think he's a jumper per se.
He had all 4 legs on it?
Oh yeah. Every single one, and took the fence down. I was like, seriously, man, all you had to do was pick your feet up. So I am actually pro jumping my young horse. I have a professional jumper rider that comes and jumps my 3rd level horse and a couple other horses here. So I'm pro jumping, not me actually taking them over the fence. But I think I may save my money.
I bet
When was the last time you jumped a horse?
Yeah.
I got hurt really badly when I was young, jumping. And so I actually am quite scared to jump, especially the really, the horses that I have here, especially Winnie, who I'm showing 3rd and 4th level now. She can really jump high and strong. And I'm just not, I'm fearful. I don't mind doing cavalettis and poles on the ground, but, I am fearful about it. So I happily write a check for the jumper rider, Craig Shegog, jumps for me.
Perfect.
And so I think, again, I know my limitations. Like I said, I got hurt. So I'm not very good at it. And plus I was terrible, which is probably why I got hurt. So I leave the jumping to other people.
Leave it to the professionals. That's what they say, right?
Yes, leave it to the professionals. So I happily write the check every week. But I may save my money on Denali. I don't think that's our calling. So, Philip, I'm dying since I was just very honest about my jumping skills. I want to hear about your bad jumping skills. Any skills in that department?
I'm going to be not honest and tell you I have awesome jumping skills.
He was an inventor before he became a dressage
Although the last
rider.
time I jumped was maybe, let's say it was 2 summers ago. It was just some clients that was having trouble with a horse, and they asked if I would jump on it and do some low jumps with it. It was a sales horse, and I said, okay, no problem. And I was really thinking like, I haven't jumped in a while, but it'll be okay, and I'll just do it. And I did some small X's and stuff, and then the next week, and I just started to get a little braver and a little braver about it again, and then
Is it brave or stupid?
It's a little both, I guess, because I ended up jumping this horse, and his problem was he would get after the fence, he would get kind of dumb, and then and so for all the small stuff, I was just trying to get rhythmical and blah 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 dressage style, right? But then I pointed him at this oxer. It's not very high, but anyways, I just pointed him at this oxer. I went over it, and then he came down on the other side, and a stride after, he just buried his head between his legs. And I just totally got dumped and right on my butt, and it hurt. And then I just thought, yeah, I know why I don't do this.
Yeah, well,
So
at least
that
we're
was
being
my last
honest.
experience. I know, I used to jump a little bit, and I would fall off all the time. And when I was younger, that was fine. And then
Hurts more now, doesn't it?
It's not so fine, and so.
Yep.
Yeah, I think that was the last time. So, yeah, I'm also not very good, and I, the problem is the confidence goes up too quickly, and then I learned my lesson, and then probably another couple of years I'll try it again, and we'll see what happens.
Well, we want some video footage of this.
Yeah, I'll let you.
That's all I got to say.
I'll get on.
Yeah, we'll put that on our Facebook page, everybody, for sure. So, well, this week in the news, there's been some news this week. We have to congratulate Great Britain on all their success at the Para Dressage Championships in London. Again, they were phenomenal.
They just continued a long string of gold medals. What a year for Great Britain this year.
Congratulations.
I hope they're celebrating.
Fantastic.
They
Yeah.
are. I saw pictures.
They had a great team.
I want to be in that celebration. That would be really fun. So congratulations, and having it in their home country is even better. And so congratulations to all their riders and our riders as well. They did a great job, and all the riders in para dressage should be commended because they work so very hard, and even harder than we have to work. So very, very cool.
Yeah, it's fantastic. And other news this week, Reese, the World Cup Dressage for Young Riders has been canceled. I guess for now, the venue, the Frankfurt show, is not going to hold it. So I think they're scrambling to look for another venue to hold that competition.
I know, and that's a shame because it's a great Brandy Ronick, who was on our show at the Young Rider wrap up. She was going to go, and I saw on her Facebook she's very sad that that's not going to happen. So I have been personally to that show, and it's a great show. So I hope they find a new venue for that. So, Philip, I am so excited for all the female dressage riders out there that the first woman German head coach was announced this week, Monica Titarescu, and I'm so very excited. How cool is that?
I think it's fantastic. I mean, with all the great female riders taking all the top spots in the world, it just was a matter of time before one was named to the German top position as coach. So I think the sad part is that she will no longer be competing, as she was going to devote all of her energy into the coaching position. And, she's had some wonderful horses in the past and has done really well for Germany. So, they gain a coach, they lose a rider. Hopefully it all goes well.
Oh, I think she'll be great. And she speaks 5 languages. I'm impressed.
It's incredible, eh?
I know. I'm so excited. I can't wait for her to kind of show the boys how it's done. That's all I got to say, ladies.
Fantastic. I guess another top female rider, officially, Charlotte Desjardins, takes over the top spot in the FEI World Rankings as the best dressage rider out there right now with her partner Vallegro. We saw them at the Olympics take the gold, so this was just a matter of time, I think.
Yeah, I think so too. And again, she was so stellar at the Olympic Games, so it's neat to see her number 1 for sure.
So Adelinda Cornelissen takes over the second spot with Parseval, and Helen Langdon-Hannenberg and Damon Hill are in third now.
I know. And then Laura Beschleheimer and Mistral Yours they're in fourth. So hugely strong and talented group in the top four. All ladies.
The guys have to get going now, and
I know you gotta work a little harder.
I don't know
boys.
what's going on. I have to send some emails out and get these horses going or doing something different. Cause,
you should do something. You should do something for sure. What can I say?
So who do we have on today, Reese? Who's going to be our interview?
Today we have Lisa Wilcox, who won the Developing Horse Pre-St. Gray. We have Caroline Roffman, who won the Developing Horse Pre-St. George, and Angela Walkup, who is HorseGirlTV. She's going to give us a fitness tip, and we're going to start our interviews after a short break from Equestrian Collections.
Hi, Glenn, back with you from the Horse Radio Network. I'm here with Debbie with the Equestrian Collections Product of the Week.
You know, I want to ask all of our listeners, doesn't it just make you crazy when your spray bottle just doesn't work? It either leaks or it breaks and you're squishing that thing and nothing comes out and you can't get underneath your horse. Well, I have the perfect product. It's the Kelly Just Anyway spray bottle nozzle. For less than $2.50, we send you this spray bottle nozzle. You can put it in any spray bottle, of the normal size that you use for your fly spray and stuff. And you can go underneath the horse. It works upside down. It works.
And it doesn't leak?
It doesn't leak. And, it doesn't break. These things, I am always throwing them out and getting new ones in, and these are really, really good. We use them here, and we just think they're great. It's a 9-inch little hose there, but you can cut that off if you have a shorter bottle, so, it works in several other types of bottles. And for $2.50, it would make the perfect little gift for somebody at your barn that's having a birthday, or, for a stocking stuffer as the holidays approach. It's just, and they're in stock too, so get them while they're hot.
Well, and it doesn't leak, right?
It doesn't leak.
Because that's the worst thing. You're there spraying, you turn the bottle over to get the bottom of the horse, and it leaks all over your hands. And then you got to wash your hands. You got fly spray all over you. It's just, it's one of those things we all have to deal with as horse people that I didn't know there was a solution for. So now there's a solution for less than $2.50. You might as well buy 10 of them and replace all your bottles.
Well, that's exactly right. And you can go on our website, www.equestriancollections.com, and just search for Just Anyway spray bottle, and it'll come right up for you.
Terrific. EquestrianCollections.com.
Thanks, Glenn.
Caroline, welcome to the show. Thanks for coming on tonight.
Thank you for having me.
So we want to jump right in, and you were the winner of the Developing Horse Pre-St. George. And can you tell us a little bit about kind of the whole program for the Developing Horse Pre-St. George?
Yeah, it's a really wonderful program. They actually have a similar program in Europe, and it's really creates a pipeline for horses to get to the FEI ring. It gives them somewhere to go from the 4, 5, 6-year-old championships. It's a Pre-St. George level equivalent test. You actually ride the Pre-St. George and the young horse Pre-St. George test, which again is sort of just a rearranged Pre-St. George. Basically, you have to qualify. You need 2 scores, but you can have a drop score if you do 3 shows. For instance, the third would be the drop score. At certain level shows, so it would have to be a rated show that's qualified for judging that test. Much like the young horse, you can't just go to any show and get your scores there. Basically, I think it has to do with the level of the judge and, of course, the rating of the show. But basically, you qualify, and the top, I believe it's 15, but it might be 12, horse and rider combinations make it to the championship, where they ride 2 tests, one counting, I think, 40% and the other 60% to get a national champion. So it's pretty much the same sort of outline as the other young horse programs.
Now, developing PSG is for what age of horses? How old is the horse that qualifies?
It has to be, I believe, 7 to 9 years old, and that's the year they turn. It's basically shows you the progression a horse should naturally take. Of course, injuries and certain horses develop slower, faster than others, but I think every rider probably hopes that their young horse develops to do a Prix St. George between 7 and 9. I think it's really an appropriate group. I have another horse or two next year that I hope to do that exact thing on again. That's come up through the young horse program, i.e. the 4, 5, and 6-year-olds, and it can sort of come out into this Prix St. George where it's, I want to say, more sheltered, but it is. It's, obviously you're being judged against horses that have similar greenness and lack of experience. You're not going against the horses that had to show against, at Gladstone or an international CDI competition where you have horses that might have done small tour or Prix St. George I won for 5 years. It's a little bit more fair for these upcoming horses.
So, Caroline, if let's say I had a 7-year-old and I was trying to decide if I wanted to take this horse, and let's say it hasn't done the young horse program, how would you decide on what type of horse to take into the program?
First of all, for instance, the horse I actually showed this year, Her Highness, she had not done the young horse program. I got the horse as a 7-year-old, so, she didn't have that opportunity. That being said, there is no type. I think that's the beauty of our sport. You look at the top 12 horses in the Olympics or in the world, and you have so many different types of horses. You have Spanish horses. You have, sort of more old-fashioned horses. You have, these sort of light and thoroughbred type horses. It's really not that, and that's the beauty of it. I think that it's to show off a well-trained, well-displayed, happy horse doing a certain level. Of course, it's a certain age. I don't think there's a certain type. If your horse is ready, I don't think it matters. I think it would be great to see some, different flavors of horses in there. And I'm sure through the years we'll start seeing, some maybe Spanish horses and who knows, a Frisian here or there and whatnot. But I think it really doesn't matter what type of horse it is. I think it's more about the training and the age and their performance with their rider.
So how do you decide if the horse is ready? I have some horses at the barn, and it's even tough to decide whether to go 4th level or St. George because they're kind of close in their training. The horses at this level have to be confirmed at St. George. They have to be able to perform all the movements really well, or how do you decide?
I think that's a really personal question, and I think if you're looking to do this and you have a trainer, it's something you should discuss with them. If you don't have a trainer, maybe some insight from peers or people you respect or whatnot. But I think that for me personally, I try to show a horse the level in which I can go and show the horse to the best of their abilities. To me, horse shows are fun. A lot of people are stressed at horse shows and a lot of people get nervous. I honestly, I'm very lucky because usually, it's not always, but usually I'm having so much fun because I'm showing off my horse. I'm showing what a nice horse I think this horse is. It was so wonderful to compete, for instance, this year with Her Highness because it was a pleasure. It was just all about, look at this horse, look how nice it is and look how she can develop. And it was really, she was, being appropriately shown at a level she was comfortable at. Was there things in the test that, I couldn't have done with my eyes closed? Absolutely. I came across a diagonal from my freeze and thought, well, let's see what happens. It's a young horse. It's not so black and white. But, I don't show horses. I try not to show horses, and I recommend clients and owners or people that I ride for that we don't show horses until they are 70%. Obviously anything can happen and whatever can go wrong, but a 70% horse at that level. So my recommendation is when your horse is comfortably doing the Prix St. George at home, you go and try it at a show. And you don't try it in a qualifier. You try it at a local show or, whatever is easiest. And you just go through the test and you get the opinions of a judge and you see what you need to work on. If you go to the show and you realize that is really quite easy, okay, I need to make this a little better or that a little bit better, then I think it's time you can do that. If you go there and you can't get 4s and you can't get 3s and your pirouettes didn't happen and the horse didn't walk in the walk through, I don't think you should show in that division. No.
So, Caroline, you've been talking about Her Highness, which we love her name. Can you tell us a little bit about her breeding, and even how you got, or did she come with that name? It's a beautiful name.
Well, I always giggle when I hear. We call her Hannah at home, but coincidentally, she actually came to me because of the Young Horse program. A couple of years ago, I think 2 or 3 years ago, I did the 5-year-old championships. I was lucky. I was riding my own horse, Bon Chance, and he actually won. And a spectator saw the ride and saw me working him throughout the week of being in Chicago. And he's a very he's a very temperamental horse. And this lady had seen some antics from him and was impressed with how it was handled and just how we train the horses and how we were working him. And she came up to me during the show and said, I have a horse I'd like you to sell for me. And of course I was very, very honored. And, it was exciting for me, just basically thinking about starting my own business at that point. So it was wonderful to hear somebody was already interested. I took Jennifer Lind, was the woman that had come up to me from Wilcox Farm, who's actually based in California now. She sent Hannah to me. Hannah was a 7, coming 8-year-old, or 7, maybe just turned 7.5-year-old mare. She had been a brood mare her whole life. She hadn't been ridden in years. She had 3 foals. She had only been ridden for the mare performance test as a 3-year-old. So other than that, her training was very limited. And to be honest with you, when she came, she was a holy terror. She would drag me out of the ring every day. We couldn't canter her under saddle. She was a head tosser. She would kick at the leg. She was really quite a little difficult horse, really. And I didn't know how good she was. And Jennifer left her with me, and month after month she developed. And about 6 months later, I had her at about 2nd, 3rd level, and actually, really kind of started to see what was in there. Within the year, I had her sold, which luckily that fell through. And when that fell through, Jennifer offered to have me buy half of the horse, become partners with her, because at that point I really sort of had this inkling that this mare was special. And I did that and really haven't looked back. Basically in 2.5 years, the mare has gone from 45 days under saddle to Prix St. George won. But she's a wonderful mare. She's actually German-bred Hanoverian by Hohenstein out of a Weltmeyer mare, which is really, I find it's a really nice mix. She's hot, but she has a brain, and she's just really her name is totally correct. She's absolutely the queen. She looks at you and expects you to kiss her feet or give her candy or something, but she's absolutely a wonderful horse, and she's now really enjoying being a show horse. She's just a wonderful partner in the ring and of course at home too.
So Caroline, tell us about your experience at Lamplight this year. Maybe any good stories or how things went.
Well, Lamplight's a wonderful, wonderful showground, and the owners, Chris and Steve, always run a really wonderful horse show. It's beautiful. It's one of my favorite places to show every year. I always look forward to being there. It was nice this year. We had pretty nice weather. Some years past, it's been really hot or really rainy, and it was just wonderful. It's always great to catch up with horse people from across the country, and that's what you always get there. You get a wonderful mix of people. You have Californians, and you have basically everybody from all places in the U.S. that are, sort of big in dressage even. So it was a lot of fun. You meet new people every year, and, it's see good horses. And you know what I've been there, I think, five times. In the last 4 or 5 years, I've been there 5 times. Yeah, I think that's right. And every year I see it get stronger. I think that the developing horse Prix St. George last year, which I competed in, also was not as strong a group as it was this year. This year it was like, wow, there's like a lot of special horses that you see going somewhere in the future. So I think that's exciting. It's a great show, and it's a wonderful program, whether it's a 4, 5, 6 developing Prix St. George or Grand Prix. It's a wonderful program, and I really think that, if people have the opportunity, they should do it. And, Scott Hassler is wonderful with young horses, and to have someone like him be able to help you the shows is really, really, really helpful, and he has so much experience at that. I always come away with something, but this year it was really special too, because Debbie McDonald, who obviously is a pretty famous dressage rider, is head of the Developing Horse and Rider program, and she actually came this year and was, there to help school those riders and horses in those divisions, and she's wonderful. And I had been able to work with her in Florida for some clinics, and was really blown away and really inspired. And I was able to work with her again there, and again was just absolutely so inspired, and came home with a lot of homework. But she was really helpful, and it really was a great show, a lot of fun.
Oh, your enthusiasm. It makes me want to go next year. It's awesome. So, Caroline, I just wanted to ask real quickly about your business. You've started a business, right?
Yeah, Endel Otts, who actually competed and placed second to Lisa Wilcox this year in the Developing Grand Prix, he and I are business partners and have a business in Wellington, Florida, year-round, Lion Share Dressage. And we have been in business about a little under a year now. We come from different backgrounds, but basically we have a lot of sales horses and training horses, and, of course, show horses, and about, I don't even know now, probably 27 or 28 horses in the stable at this point. We've been able to sell, I think last season, or this past 7 months, I think we sold 23 horses. We do all price ranges, all training levels. We teach, we travel to Europe to find horses and clinic, and it's so much fun. And to be able to have a business with somebody that you're really good friends with, it's like a dream come true. So, yes, we have a business, and I'm so lucky to have it with Endel. Excellent.
So where can we find you online?
You can find us online at lionsharedressage.com. That's LIONSHARE dressage.com. You can find all about our business and Endel and myself there as well.
Great. Thanks for coming on the show, Caroline.
Thank you for having me again, and it was wonderful speaking to you guys.
Well, we thank Caroline for coming on and having an interview with us today. Next, we have a commercial from Kentucky Performance Products, and right after that, we'll have Lisa Wilcox.
Joint Armor from KPP provides your horse with the building blocks necessary to maintain healthy joints throughout his lifetime. Kentucky Performance Products Quality Assurance provides you with the confidence that you are purchasing a safe, high-quality product. Your satisfaction is guaranteed. Joint Armor is concentrated and affordable. One jar lasts a whole 75 days. Joint Armor helps maintain fluid motion and flexibility in your horse's joints. It also supports normal cartilage development and reduces joint deterioration. Learn more about Joint Armor from Kentucky Performance Products and all their other terrific products at kppusa.com. That's kppusa.com.
Lisa, thanks so much for coming on our show tonight.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
We're honored to have you, and we want to jump right into the Developing Horse Grand Prix. This was the first year at Lamplight, and so can you tell us and our listeners all about the program and how you get involved, that type of thing?
Okay. Now, of course, it lent itself for me perfectly for Pico del Cerro, because he had just come out of the Developing Young Horse program last year, and as you know, we won that. And it's very nice because coming out as an 8-year-old, although they can stay in that program through their 9th year, it's nice to have, when you're developing to the Grand Prix, you're starting to work with the Piaffe and the Passage, it's nice to have that type of a test developed for the youngsters. And especially through the I-2, being able to warm up through the I-2, these Piaffes are forward. They're inviting lines from a half pass to a pirouette. It gives the horses an idea of what's to come and helps you develop their strength in that direction. And I was very grateful because the timing worked perfectly for Cerro. It happened to be too early to try to make any attempt for a team. And And as soon as they had released that they were going to have this program, I thought, that's it. I have an entire year to work towards an I2 and I call it a baby Grand Prix. And, developing horses, it's so important that they stay happy. We always talk about the happy horse, but that their minds don't ever get, they don't get frustrated. They don't get worried. They enjoy their education. And so this was a very smooth transition. And, what have I spent now? Probably a year now. I think I started working with the Piaf pretty religiously October 1st of last year. And as you see, it takes at least a year just for them to grasp concepts. And then they begin to apply them. You would put them in a test, and they're put together in an inviting way that encourages the horse throughout the test. And so, anyway, we had a great time this season, at the championships. And I was so impressed. You go in there, you don't have a whip. So you're testing all these things, all these concepts he's been learning for almost a year now, and see, okay, so how far along is he? And, he shows that he's very successful in what he's doing, and he's doing it easily. And so now the step that I make, and I call it adult Grand Prix, that I think I'll have my very first adult Grand Prix in October, which will be a year. And then I will spend, in that particular Grand Prix, he'll spend a year developing there as well. So it's been a perfect way to introduce these new concepts to him at this age, 9, where, trying to take something like this and go, I'm going to try and make the Olympics, I probably would have fried his little brain. So rather than, it gave riders something to look toward, and horses, they continue the development, but there's a championship for young developing Grand Prix horses. Wow, perfect. And that's basically what we did. We jumped on it, and you never know how fast the horse is going to develop. Were we going to be ready for the championships or not? That was just, we'd give it our good college effort, and if we were ready, we'd go. And of course, you have to qualify, so the scores alone are very important. But it worked out perfectly. I couldn't have been happier with how this program worked for us.
Lisa, tell us about your qualifying process. Did you bring him out right away and you were confident about this program? Did you get your scores right away? And what kind of scores are required for the championships?
Well, I first of all, I was piddling around in I2. And the program hadn't been off yet. And so I'm kind of getting my bearings in the I2. And I'll never forget the owner, Ann Sparks, goes, "Oh, this program." And I was like, oh, not yet. And I just felt like, I'm not sure. And then I looked at the test over, and I thought, actually, you know what? That is quite an inviting test. I was a little worried about the patterns. And so the beginning of last season, long story short, I was working through the I2, and I think I started my first qualifier was probably in February, I'm thinking. I'm not exactly sure on that. And you need to have, I believe, and this is horrible on my part, but I think you need to have more than 64% or 60. Might even be less than that for the Grand Prix. But my Sarah was always getting 69, 70s. And my last qualifier, what did I get? I think I got a 74. My last qualifier last season. Yeah, that's how well he's doing going into this.
So, Lisa, what were some training? I mean, the Piaf and Passage, were there anything, your pitfalls or things that were hard for him to change from the developing Prix St. George to the developing Grand Prix?
That's a leap. That's huge. The piaffe, of course, is a movement that takes quite a bit of coordination. Obviously, the passage as well, but you start with the piaffe because you need the hind leg for the piaffe quick. You don't want to start with passage because they'll not understand then what you're looking for in piaffe. They'll try to stay slow. And so I spent a month working primarily on the piaffe, and that was, I had my rider in the saddle and I would come behind him. And until, he really understood the concept, and it really took him about a month, and it's not, you can't call it piaffe. He's listening to your aids and reacting to them, but not always his neck, losing his balance. You get 3-4 steps, then he loses balance, and then you start again. So he was fumbling a little bit, but what I thought, I couldn't even imagine I was going to get a passage. And I thought, oh my goodness, I'm thinking about this now. This without someone behind or helping me in the front or whatever. And sure enough, after about 6-7 months, all of a sudden the lights went on for him. And he was starting to oh, I get it. And you could tell he was having fun with it. And then, of course, you've got the transition, going in and out of the piaffe and then to the passage and passage back to the piaffe. And what's nice about the I2 is they allow you forward movement in the piaffe. So because they're generally not going to be able to have the strength to do it on the spot for you for the 11, 12 steps that they require for the I2. And that's understood. That's why these tests are developed this way, knowing what it takes to develop the horse, and that if you would require something like that on the spot would frustrate a horse. They wouldn't be ready to be able to do that for you. So anyway, it was very exciting to see. I figured he would have a good piaffe because I know this bloodline like the back of my hand, but it's Peak L Rhodiamont, so I feel like I have Rhodiamont all over again. And he is piaffing and passaging like Rhodi. And
that's so nice.
It's phenomenal, and it's growing. I tell you, the passage just keeps growing. I was working on the adult Grand Prix this last week, and I'm just impressed at the volume. And it's just the tip of the iceberg, and there's a whole another year of development to come, which is so exciting. So he's already
That's fantastic to hear about.
For his piaffe and his passages already, and there's so much more potential. So
now, Lisa, there was a whole bunch of really nice horses in the developing St. George. Is there any advice that you have for horses and riders at that level that they're going to make the big step to the developing Grand Prix? Is there anything that you could say to them?
Yeah, that you definitely take your time with it. Don't make that championship pencil it in. Because when you get going, you're going to find you're going to hit walls from it. The horses are going to stagnate. They're going to struggle with certain aspects of these new concepts, and you want to definitely give them the time they need to fully understand what it is. And so that's why I was saying I didn't know quite where I was going with this right away. And then when they came up, I was just like, I'll start, it's natural to want to start to begin thinking I2. And then when they came out with this program, it was perfect. I2 is your warm-up into this, short or baby Grand Prix. And so it worked for me. But what I will say is if I didn't feel like Sarah was understanding concept, you just don't want to push your horse to dates. You want to pencil dates. Dates are made to be erased. And it's really that people understand their horses and try to, work with them accordingly. You really, really have to have a feel for things getting complicated and frustrating. And if you're really starting to hit a wall, back off. Just back down again and then start over. And sometimes it just these, horses are also different. And the thing is, with Rhodiamont, I tell you, those guys are little Albert Einsteins. It never fails. They're like a little chess opponent, actually. So your mind is constantly being asked to be a little quicker than they are. But I know that I've also had other horses that would not have developed as fast as he did, for instance. Would have needed more time. I'm just thoroughly impressed with how much he's accomplished in really less than a year. So I guess my point is, don't think that you can take any 8-year-old and go from 8-year-old winning the young horse championship, developing championships directly into the Grand Prix and expect it to be like it was with Cerro. We're not. It's a wonderful thing that happened for us, but don't think that that's the way it always is. Each horse is going to develop, and he happens to have the perfect little body. He's compact. Things are easier for him to coordinate. If you have a bigger horse, like, for instance, a Paragon or something, just to compare and contrast, it may take them longer to develop into the Grand Prix, or whichever horses, when I'm trying to think of some examples there from this year. But just that people take time and really are aware and listen to their horses. And don't think because I was able to go from one year this to the next year that is usual. It certainly isn't. And so I don't want people to get speedy about their training. Always take a deep breath and pay attention to what the horses are telling you as you're developing them.
And Lisa, you do such a beautiful job. I've had the pleasure of watching you ride him, and you guys have a beautiful partnership, and you're just amazing riding him, and you can really see. So, congratulations on winning the first developing Grand Prix, and for all your insight. Lisa, where can we find you online?
I do. It's Lisa-Wilcox.com.
Perfect. That's easy.
Yeah, that's great.
I had to think. I'm trying to give you an email address, but Lisa-Wilcox.com. Yeah.
Great. Well, we'll send our listeners your way, and thanks so much for coming on the show.
It was a pleasure. Thank you so much for having me.
Well, that was so nice of Lisa to return to the show. She was a regular in the very beginning of this show. She actually was one of the first guests on the Dressage radio show. And I'll never forget, we were recording by Skype the one night, and she called in and she was on her video. She was sitting at a table by a lake outside in this beautiful property, sitting by a lake. And she did the show from the side of the lake. She was co-hosting the show, and she was sitting there, and you could hear the birds singing, and she had her glass of wine, and she was so happy. So
must have been a very serene interview.
It was.
Yeah, she's my hero. Guys, let's just face it. She's my hero on many levels.
Because she drinks wine by a lake, or
yeah,
and she rides. Drink wine by a lake?
Yeah, I'd like to drink wine by a lake, and she's just an amazing rider, and definitely talent for the United States. So, it was such an honor to have her on the show.
Well, we have another guest coming up that I've known for many years actually, since she started the HorseGirlTV, which is a video podcast. She was actually one of the pioneers in new media in the horse world. She was one of the first to approach new media, and she did it in the form of a short video podcast that she put out. I think it was twice a month or once a month. I can't remember now. And that was 5 or 6 years ago, and I've known her ever since then. And we've been in touch. She's been a regular guest on the shows here on the Horse Radio Network, and she has something fun. A project that she wants to promote tonight. And I said, well, yeah, come on, let's do kind of a tip on training and exercise for the rider. So this is Angela Walkup, HorseGirlTV.
Hi, Angela. Welcome to the Dressage Radio Show.
Hi, thank you guys for having me on.
We are so excited because you are our first person to come on and talk about a rider fitness tip. So tell us about your adventures.
Well, we're about to launch the EchoBar Fitness DVD, which has sort of been evolving for the last 2 years.
It's a workout geared for the equestrian based on the ballet bar workout, which focuses on core strength, which we all know equestrians, it's kind of key to have good, solid core strength and upper body strength. So, yeah, that's Equibar.
Wow. I've heard there's something here called Pure Bar, and it's supposed to be very, very difficult. Tell us, what is it? How do you do it?
Pure Bar, that's actually very similar to Equibar. That's more like for mainstream, but it's a very similar workout. The only difference is they do it at an actual ballet bar in a studio, and we do it out in the stable at a jump or at a sawhorse or something like that. It's just kind of translating into the horse world. But the concepts are very similar in that you focus on core and stretching and elongating the muscles rather than bodybuilding kind of thing, which riders, you want to kind of stretch your legs long around the horse. So that is that's sort of the direction we're going with that.
So the idea, Angela, is that you play the DVD and follow along, like a pretty standard fitness DVD idea, and you're following along in the barn, or can you do it, in your living room, or how is this designed?
You can do it in the kitchen, in the living room, wherever you can. All you really need to do it, the idea is kind of cutesy, is that you get a group of people, you go to the stable and you do it, at a jump standard or whatever, which is where we shot it, in an indoor at a jump standard. But you can do it in your kitchen, in your living room, as long as you have something that's kind of, around waist high. You just need something that can mimic, and, somewhat solid, that can mimic a ballet kind of height. Because it's a lot of pliés, it's a lot of little jetés, like small kicks. And the thing about it is it's something that anybody can do. It's not impact. It's fairly non-impact. So it's something that it's kind of like yoga and Pilates and all that combined in something that's a little bit more simple and user-friendly, if that makes sense.
Yeah. So how does it, kind of talk us through what a regular workout would be. If we buy the video, how does it work? Do you have specific videos per day?
You guys have to buy the video and watch the DVD and do the workout.
Exactly. Can you kind of elaborate for us how it works?
Well, it's very simple in that, if you've done a fitness DVD before, you have a warm up and then you have a strengthening and then you have a cool down. And so the DVD has two of those. One of them happens to be where there's actually a dressage rider in the background doing her thing that follows along with the warm up and the strengthening and the cool down, which is, a little bit different than your average mainstream fitness DVD you buy off the shelf. But you warm up, you do some stretching, and then you really kind of get at the bar. You do a lot of repeats of simple sets, like low kicks, pliés, toe taps, things that are going to stretch the muscles, but then also let them stretch out at the same time if that's the way to actually properly say it.
Now, how is it geared for different levels of fitness for people? How does, somebody who rides maybe once a week is maybe not as fit as somebody who rides 5 horses a day? I hope that the DVD can guide everybody to their own thing. And how is that done?
No, and exactly. And so like if it's something where say we're doing something with the leg on the bar, it's addressed in the workout. It's go to your height and your comfort level. It's about form rather than about getting your head wrapped around your leg. It's more about having proper form, because when you sit, you want your hips, equally weighted. You want your legs wrapped and relaxed. And so again, like if we're at the bar and you have your leg up on the bar and your hip is all cockeyed and, one hip is higher than the other, then you need to lower the bar and relax your legs where you can actually get the strengthening and stretching exercise from it rather than just trying to get your leg high up. So that's sort of the way there's not 3 levels that are done. I work out to the average level, to the medium level. And then it's also mentioned, you can make your leg lower. If you can take it higher, that's great, but just work to where you're comfortable.
Excellent. So, Angela, how do we get a hold of the video?
oh gosh, we're in pre-sales right now, so we're going to do the big launch in Massachusetts in November, because we're going up there for the Absorbing 150th anniversary celebration that they're having around it. And so we'll actually be launching there. The actual DVDs will actually first be released to hands. We're doing pre-sales right now. The website's equibar.com. It's EQUIBARRE.com. But they can always get to me through HorseGirlTV if somebody's interested in doing pre-sales right now.
Just to switch it up a little bit, Angela, I heard you're going to Europe in the near future. Is that to do some riding or something with the show? Yeah, Glenn.
Yeah, Glenn.
I'm so bad. I mentioned that to him in passing, just like thinking, oh, he's not going to say anything about that. That is not in stone. The goal is to go back in the spring, summer. And sadly, to be able to fit that into the schedule and the budget I'll sadly probably be missing Wellington this winter. But the hope is to go to Holland and train 3 to 6 months and really confirm my guy at FEI, actually. He's a really talented horse, and so I'm going to try to see how far we can go with that. So
that's super exciting.
Give Glenn a slap on the wrist for saying
Well, we hope you make it, because we'd love to have you come back on the show and talk to us a little bit about what it's like and how it feels to train in Europe. So we will stay tuned. And where can we find you online again?
HorseGirlTV.com.
So, Philip, we here at Maple Crest Farm, all the girls need to get the Equibar and do it in the Isleway. I'm excited, kind of.
I have to tell you something a little bit funny, actually. Earlier this year, I mean, people were talking about fitness and all this, and I've never really been in a program about it. But then I thought, maybe I should do something. So for my birthday, Meredith got me passes to like a yoga thing, and I was like, I was really excited to do it and all that. And it's been awesome. So I'm now going to expand and maybe go out into all other types of fitness things, and it, just the core strength and with the flexibility helping my riding. I think all these things are great. So
jeez, he's going to have a black belt in yoga soon.
I know. Well,
I know.
agree.
I cut some flack about it after being the only guy in the class. All that.
No, good for you.
I'm used to being outnumbered by females, so that's just another.
At least on this show, I'm outnumbered.
Yeah, I like that. I know. We have the 2-on-1.
But no, I totally agree with you. I would love to try the Equibar, but I also do some yoga. And since I have started it, I have had far less injuries. I have a not great back, but when I really take the time every day, I have a video that I do and I like it. And when I take the time, I feel so much better. And it also helps me really be able to think about my horses and what I'm doing with each individual horse. When I don't do it, I really feel a difference. So we're going to work in some rider tips and rider fitness, because I think it really is important, and it's the cross training that we can do. So I think all our listeners will enjoy that. So, Philip, we got a great email from Coach Jen from the Horse Tip Daily Show. It was also a show on the Horse Radio Network. And Coach Jen, it was awesome. We love her. And she was talking about freestyles and how you design freestyles. And so we are going to, we love email or Facebook tips or from all our listeners. And we will really try to get all the questions answered in a show, and we really enjoy having some content. We need that. So thank you, Coach Jen, and listen to the Horse Tip Daily Show. And you can find our show notes and links to today's guests on our website at dressageradio.com. You can like us on Facebook, just search Dressage Radio Show. Follow us on Twitter at Horse Radio. My website is maplecrestfarmky.com, and my email is reese@horseradionetwork.com.
You can find me at philipparksequestrian.com, and my email is philip@horseradionetwork.com. I want to thank our sponsors, Equestrian Collections and Kentucky Performance Products. And don't forget to check out all the other shows on the Horse Radio Network at horseradionetwork.com.
Including mine, Horses in the Morning, live every morning. Horses in the
Great show.
It's
live. It's so much fun.
Because it's live, anything can happen.
It does.
It does. please. Well, everyone, keep your heels down and your shoulders back and have a great week.